Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Study English Online Podcast, your friendly companion for learning English through real-life conversations. I'm so glad you're joining us today, whether you're sipping your morning coffee, commuting to work, or just waking up. I'm Michael.
And I'm Emma. Thanks so much for choosing to spend your time with us today. We always say that the best moments to learn are the moments you're already living, and today we're going to prove exactly that. Michael, before we dive into our topic, how did your morning go?
You know what, Emma? It was one of those mornings. I set 3 alarms, snoozed 2 of them, and finally dragged myself out of bed when I realized I was running late. Then I spent 5 minutes looking for my keys, which were in my jacket pocket the whole time.
Oh, that's such a relatable morning. I think our listeners know that feeling very well. The "where are my keys" panic is practically a universal human experience.
Absolutely. And that's actually a perfect introduction to today's topic, because we're talking about something that affects all of us: how to use your morning chaos to learn English naturally.
Yes, and I love how we're framing this, Michael, because we're not going to tell people to wake up at 5 a.m. and meditate for an hour. We're talking about real mornings, messy mornings, chaotic mornings, and how those very moments can become your English learning opportunities.
Exactly. Because here's the truth that many English learning programs won't tell you. Perfection is the enemy of progress. If you're waiting for the perfect morning, the perfect study environment, the perfect mood, you'll be waiting forever.
That's so true. And I want our listeners to understand something really important about our podcast approach before we continue. Michael, should we explain our teaching philosophy?
Yes, let's do that. So, everyone listening, here's how Study English Online works. We believe in what we call layered learning. That means we speak clearly and simply so that intermediate learners around B1 level can follow everything comfortably.
But at the same time, we're going to introduce you to more advanced vocabulary, B2 and even C1 level expressions, but we'll always explain them immediately in simple English. So you're never lost, but you're also constantly growing.
Think of it like climbing stairs. We make sure your foot is stable on one step before we introduce the next step. You feel safe, but you're also moving upward. And here's something important. We're not just teaching you words.
Right. We're teaching you how to think in English, how to express feelings, opinions, and ideas that actually matter in your daily life, not just "the pen is on the table" sentences, but real communication.
And throughout today's episode, we're going to use some really useful expressions. When we introduce a new phrase or idiom, we'll pause, break it down, give you the context, and show you how to use it yourself.
Here's a little challenge for everyone listening. Grab a notebook or open your phone's Notes app. As you listen today, write down one phrase or expression that resonates with you. That means it connects with your life. It feels useful. It makes you think, "Oh, I could use this."
And at the end of the episode, try to create one sentence using that phrase. Just one sentence. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours. And if you feel confident, share it in the comments below this video. We read every single comment.
We really do. And other learners read them too, which creates this beautiful community of people supporting each other. Your sentence might inspire someone else, and someone else's sentence might teach you something new.
Okay, so let's get into the real topic: morning chaos and English learning. Emma, why do you think mornings are such a powerful time for language learning, even when they're messy?
That's a fascinating question, Michael. I think it's because mornings are when our brains are in what scientists call a high neuroplasticity state. Now, that sounds very technical, so let me break it down.
Please do, because I think I need that explanation too.
Okay, so neuroplasticity basically means your brain's ability to form new connections and learn new things. In the morning, after rest, your brain is like a sponge that's been wrung out and dried, ready to absorb again.
Oh, I love that image. So it's not just about being fresh, it's actually a biological advantage.
Exactly. Your brain hasn't been bombarded with information yet. You haven't had 15 conversations, checked 50 emails, or scrolled through 100 social media posts. Your mental bandwidth is still available.
Bandwidth, that's a great word for today's lesson. When we talk about mental bandwidth, we mean your brain's capacity to process information. Think of it like internet bandwidth. If you're downloading 10 things at once, everything slows down.
Perfect explanation. So in the morning, you have maximum bandwidth. But here's where most people make a mistake. They immediately fill that bandwidth with junk information.
Ah, yes, the classic wake up and immediately check Instagram routine. I'm guilty of that sometimes.
We all are. There's no judgment here. But imagine if instead of filling those first precious moments with random content, you filled them with English input. Not in a stressful, I must study way, but in a natural, integrated way.
Okay, so give me an example. What does that actually look like in real life?
All right, let's paint a picture. You wake up, and instead of reaching for social media, you play a short English podcast or even just one English song while you're still lying in bed. Just one song. That's 3 or 4 minutes.
So you're not adding time to your morning, you're just changing what you do with the time you already spend lying there half awake.
Exactly. You're substituting, not adding. Then you get up, go to the bathroom, and while you're brushing your teeth, you can listen to English news or even just talk to yourself in English in the mirror.
Wait, talk to myself? That's not weird.
Michael, talking to yourself is one of the most powerful learning techniques. In language learning, we call it self-talk, and it's how children learn their first language. They practice sounds and words even when no one is listening.
Okay, but what would I even say to myself while brushing my teeth?
Anything. Describe what you're doing. Like, I'm brushing my teeth. The toothpaste tastes minty. I need to remember to buy more toothpaste. Or comment on how you feel. I'm still sleepy. I didn't sleep well last night. I have a busy day ahead.
Oh, so it's like narrating your life in English. That's actually pretty simple.
Exactly. You're training your brain to think in English, not translate from your native language. This is what we call building your internal monologue in English.
Internal monologue. Let me explain that phrase. Your internal monologue is the voice in your head, the running commentary you have about your life. Right now, for most of you, that voice speaks your native language. But if you can gradually switch it to English, your fluency will skyrocket.
Skyrocket means to increase very rapidly, like a rocket shooting up into the sky. And yes, Michael, that internal switch is one of the biggest breakthroughs in language learning.
So we've covered waking up and brushing teeth. What about breakfast?
Breakfast is another golden opportunity. While you're making coffee or tea, you can listen to English audio, like this one. While you're eating, instead of scrolling mindlessly, you could read English news on your phone.
But Emma, I have to be honest. When I'm eating breakfast, I'm usually in zombie mode. I'm not sure my brain can actually absorb information.
I totally understand that feeling, Michael. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't need to actively concentrate. This is what we call passive learning or input exposure.
Okay, explain that for our listeners.
Passive learning means you're exposing yourself to the language without intense focus. You're not trying to memorize every word, you're just letting English wash over you. And scientifically, this actually works. Your brain picks up patterns, pronunciation, rhythm, and common phrases, even when you're not consciously trying.
So it's like background music, but it's background English.
Exactly. Though I'd say it's even more valuable than background music because language has meaning. Your brain is naturally wired to process language, so even passively, it's working.
That takes so much pressure off. I think many learners believe that every study session needs to be intense focus with a notebook and highlighters.
And that's a myth we need to bust. Intensive study is valuable, absolutely, but extensive exposure, meaning lots of contact with the language in low-pressure situations, is equally important, maybe even more important.
So let's break down a complete morning routine that integrates English naturally. Emma, can you walk us through this step by step?
I'd love to. So let's create what we call the English-infused morning. And remember, you don't need to do all of these things. Even doing 2 or 3 will make a massive difference.
Okay, I'm ready. Start from the alarm.
Step 1, the alarm moment. When your alarm goes off, instead of hitting snooze immediately, take 3 deep breaths and say 1 English affirmation out loud.
An affirmation, that's a positive statement you say to yourself. Something like, today will be a good day, or I am improving my English every day.
Perfect examples, Michael. And the reason we do this immediately upon waking is that you're programming your mind before the day's stress kicks in. You're setting an intention.
Setting an intention means deciding in advance how you want to approach something. It's like choosing the mood for your day.
Exactly. Step 2, the bathroom routine. While brushing your teeth, washing your face, or taking a shower, narrate what you're doing in English, out loud if you're alone, or in your head if you have family around.
And this helps build that internal monologue we talked about earlier.
Right. Step 3, the breakfast window. While preparing and eating breakfast, play English audio. It could be this podcast, it could be news, it could be an audiobook. The key is English voices surrounding you.
What if someone doesn't eat breakfast?
Great question. Then adapt it to whatever you do. If you just grab coffee and go, listen during your coffee. The principle is the same. Use the time you have, don't create time you don't have.
That's so important. We're working with real life here, not ideal life.
Exactly. Step 4, the commute or transition time. If you drive, take a bus, or walk to work or school, this is premium English time. You can listen or you can speak.
Speaking while commuting, how does that work?
If you're driving alone or walking alone, you can have imaginary conversations in English. Practice how you'd explain your job, describe your weekend, or talk about your opinions on current events.
Oh, so it's like rehearsing for real conversations.
Exactly! Athletes visualize their performance before competing. You're doing the same with language. And if you're on public transport, you can listen to podcasts or use language learning apps quietly.
Step 5, or are we done?
There's one more. Step 5, the arrival micro moment. When you arrive at work or school, before you dive into your day, spend just 2 minutes writing 3 sentences in English on your phone.
What kind of sentences?
Anything. Today, I want to accomplish X. I feel Y. I am grateful for Z. Or describe something you saw on your commute. The act of writing forces your brain to construct language actively, not just receive it passively.
So we've gone from passive input to active output.
Precisely. And that combination, passive plus active, input plus output, is the magic formula for language acquisition.
Language acquisition, that's a fancy term. It means the natural process of learning a language, similar to how children learn. It's different from just memorizing grammar rules.
Great clarification. Now, Michael, I know what some listeners are thinking. They're thinking, this sounds nice, but I'm too tired in the mornings, or my mornings are too chaotic with kids, or I'm not a morning person.
Right, I can hear those objections in my head too. So let's address them one by one. Emma, what do you say to someone who's genuinely exhausted in the mornings?
First, I have compassion for that. Not everyone has the luxury of peaceful mornings. But here's the thing. We're not asking you to add anything exhausting. Listening to English while you do things you already do doesn't require extra energy.
In fact, it might give you energy because you're feeding your mind something meaningful instead of starting with stressful news or draining social media.
Exactly. And for parents dealing with morning chaos, getting kids ready, making lunches, finding lost homework, I get it. But could you play an English podcast in the background while you're doing those things? Your kids might even pick up some English too.
That's a bonus. And what about the I'm not a morning person crowd?
I'm part of that crowd, Michael. I naturally wake up grumpy. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to be cheerful to learn English. You can grumpily brush your teeth while grumpily narrating in English.
I love that. I am grumpy. I hate mornings. This toothpaste is too minty. That's still English practice.
Exactly. Language learning doesn't require positivity. It just requires exposure and practice. Bring your grumpy self to the table, and English will still meet you there.
Okay, so we've covered the practical morning routine, but I want to dive deeper into something. Why does this approach work better than traditional studying?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question. Traditional studying often means sitting at a desk with textbooks, doing exercises, memorizing vocabulary lists. And that has value, don't get me wrong.
But
But it's disconnected from real life. Your brain learns language best when it's attached to experiences, emotions, and contexts. When you're narrating your morning in English, you're creating what scientists call episodic memory.
episodic memory, that sounds technical. Can you break it down?
Sure. Episodic memory is memory linked to personal experiences. It's much stronger than semantic memory, which is just facts without context. So if you learn the word toothbrush from a vocabulary list, that's semantic memory.
And I'll probably forget it quickly.
Exactly. But if you learn the word toothbrush while actually brushing your teeth and saying, "I'm holding my blue toothbrush," now that word is connected to a visual, a sensation, an action, and a moment in your life.
So it's anchored in reality, not floating in abstract space.
Perfect way to put it. And anchored memories stick much better. This is why immersion programs, where you live in a country and use the language all day, work so well. You're constantly anchoring language to life.
But most of our listeners can't move to an English-speaking country.
Right, so we're creating micro-immersion in your morning. We're bringing English into your real environment, your real activities, your real life.
I love that term, micro-immersion. It makes advanced learning techniques accessible to everyone.
And here's another psychological benefit. When you integrate English into your existing routine, it doesn't feel like a burden or an obligation. It feels like a natural part of your day.
That's huge, because if it feels like a burden, you'll quit. But if it feels natural, you'll keep doing it. And consistency is everything in language learning.
Consistency, yes. Let's talk about that for a moment. Michael, what's more effective, studying English for 3 hours once a week or 15 minutes every day?
Definitely 15 minutes every day, because language learning is about building neural pathways, and those pathways strengthen with regular use, not occasional intense use.
Exactly. Think of it like watering a plant. If you pour a huge amount of water once a week, a lot of it runs off, and the plant might even drown. But if you give it a little water every day, it thrives.
Your brain is the plant, and English is the water.
Perfect analogy. And morning routines are perfect for building that daily consistency because mornings happen every day. You can't skip Monday morning.
True. Unfortunately, Monday mornings always come.
So, if English is embedded in your Monday morning, Tuesday morning, every morning, you're getting that daily exposure automatically.
Let's talk about something practical. What if someone tries this for a few days and doesn't see improvement? How do we address that frustration?
Such an important question, Michael. First, we need to reframe what improvement means. In language learning, progress is often invisible day to day. It's like watching a child grow. If you see them every day, you don't notice. But if you see them once a year, you think, wow, you've grown so much.
So we're too close to our own progress to see it?
Exactly. That's why I recommend keeping what I call a language journal. At the end of each week, write down one thing you could say or understand this week that you couldn't last week.
So you're creating evidence of progress.
Yes, because your brain tends to focus on what you can't do yet, not what you've already achieved. The journal forces you to notice wins, even small ones.
And small wins matter.
They're everything. Another thing I tell frustrated learners is to record themselves speaking English at the beginning of their journey, then record again after 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. The difference will be obvious.
Because you're creating objective data, not just feelings.
Right. Feelings lie to us. They tell us we're not making progress when we absolutely are. Data doesn't lie.
Okay, Emma, I want to introduce some advanced vocabulary now, but in our accessible way. We've used several interesting expressions today. Let's walk through them for our listeners and really make sure everyone understands how to use them.
Great idea. Let's do a vocabulary spotlight section.
First expression, to resonate with someone. Emma used this earlier. When something resonates with you, it means it connects deeply with your feelings or experiences. It's like a tuning fork vibrating at the same frequency as you.
Beautiful explanation. For example, I might say, that movie really resonated with me because I've experienced similar challenges in my life. It means the movie spoke to me personally. It wasn't just entertainment.
Can you use it in a sentence related to learning?
Sure. The advice about morning routines resonated with me because I've always struggled with consistency. There, it means the advice felt personally relevant and meaningful.
Perfect. Next expression, to break down. We've used this phrase several times. When you break something down, you explain it in simpler parts or steps.
Right, like breaking down a complex machine into individual components so you can understand how each piece works. In teaching, we break down difficult concepts into understandable chunks.
For example, can you break down that grammar rule for me? I don't understand it yet.
Or, let me break down this recipe step by step so you can follow it easily.
Next one, to pick up something. In language learning, when you pick up a language or phrase, you learn it naturally without formal study.
Yes, it's like picking up an object you find on the ground. You didn't search for it, you just encountered it and took it. I picked up some Spanish while traveling in Mexico means I learned it through exposure, not textbooks.
Or she picked up that accent from her friends. It happened naturally, almost unconsciously.
Another great phrase we used is to bust a myth. When you bust a myth, you prove that something people believe is actually not true. It comes from the word bust, meaning to break.
Like a myth buster breaks false beliefs. For example, let's bust the myth that you need to study grammar for years before speaking English.
Perfect. Or scientists have busted the myth that we only use 10% of our brains.
Here's another useful one. To dive into something. When you dive into a topic or activity, you start engaging with it deeply and enthusiastically, like diving into water.
Right. Let's dive into today's topic means let's really get into it, explore it thoroughly. Or I'm ready to dive into this new project means I'm ready to immerse myself fully.
It suggests energy and commitment, not just casual interest.
Exactly. Another expression, to take pressure off. When something takes pressure off you, it reduces stress or expectations. Like releasing air from a tire, the pressure decreases.
Knowing I don't have to be perfect takes a lot of pressure off my English speaking practice.
Or delegating some tasks took pressure off my schedule. It means you feel relief, things feel lighter.
Let's talk about to skyrocket. This is a vivid verb. When something skyrockets, it increases very rapidly and dramatically, like a rocket shooting into the sky.
The housing prices skyrocketed in that neighborhood means they went up very quickly. Or her confidence skyrocketed after she gave her first presentation in English.
It's much more dramatic than just increased. It emphasizes the speed and scale of the increase.
Here's a useful phrase, to have bandwidth. We mentioned mental bandwidth earlier. In technology, bandwidth is the capacity to transfer data. Metaphorically, your personal bandwidth is your capacity to deal with tasks or information.
I don't have the bandwidth to take on another project right now. Means I don't have the mental or emotional capacity. I'm already at my limit.
Or, in the morning, I have more bandwidth for learning because my mind is fresh. It's a modern way to talk about capacity and energy.
Let's explain to substitute. When you substitute one thing for another, you replace it, like a substitute teacher replaces the regular teacher.
I'm substituting English podcasts for social media in the morning. Means instead of social media, I'm using podcasts. One replaces the other.
You can substitute honey for sugar in this recipe. Same idea, replacing one ingredient with another.
Another expression, golden opportunity. When something is a golden opportunity, it's a perfect, valuable chance that you should take advantage of. Gold is precious, so a golden opportunity is especially valuable.
This internship is a golden opportunity to learn from industry experts.
Or your morning routine is a golden opportunity to practice English. It's a perfect, valuable time that would be a shame to waste.
Here's an interesting one, to wash over you. When something washes over you, it flows over you like water, affecting you but not requiring your active participation.
Let the music wash over you means just let yourself experience it passively, don't analyze it. Or sadness washed over her when she heard the news suggests the emotion came like a wave.
In our context, let English wash over you means expose yourself to it without stress or pressure to understand everything.
Perfect explanation. Let's talk about to anchor something. When you anchor something, you secure it firmly, like a ship drops an anchor to stay in place.
In memory and learning, anchoring means connecting new information to something concrete. Anchor new vocabulary to real experiences means link the words to actual moments in your life so they stick better.
Her childhood memories were anchored to that old house. The memories are firmly attached to that place.
One more important phrase, to thrive. When something thrives, it grows successfully and healthily. Plants thrive in good conditions, businesses thrive with good management.
Students thrive when they feel supported and challenged. Or her English skills are thriving now that she practices daily.
It's stronger than just surviving. Thriving means flourishing, doing really well.
These are all such useful expressions, and notice how we learned them in context, not as isolated vocabulary. That's the power of learning through conversation.
Absolutely. And I want to pause here and remind our listeners, don't try to memorize all of these at once. Just pick one or two that resonated with you. That phrase again.
Nice callback. Yes, pick one or two, write them down, and try to use them this week, maybe in your morning self-talk or in a message to a friend.
Using new vocabulary actively is how it moves from your passive knowledge, words you recognize, to your active knowledge, words you can use.
Exactly. And that transition from passive to active is one of the biggest leaps in fluency.
Okay, Emma, we've talked about the practical routine, the psychology, the vocabulary. Let's address one more thing, motivation. How do we keep this going beyond the first week when the novelty wears off?
Oh, this is critical because almost everyone starts with enthusiasm. Week 1, you're excited, you do everything we suggested. Week 2, you're still pretty good. Week 3, life happens.
Exactly. The alarm doesn't go off, or you slept badly, or there's a family emergency, and suddenly the routine breaks.
Right. So here's my philosophy on motivation. Don't rely on it. Motivation is like weather. It changes constantly. Some days it's sunny, some days it rains. You can't control it.
Wait, don't rely on motivation? But isn't motivation the key to everything?
No, and this is a crucial mindset shift. Motivation starts things, but systems maintain things. You need to build a system that works even when you're not motivated.
A system. Explain that.
A system is a routine that's so integrated into your life that you do it almost automatically, like brushing your teeth. You don't wait to feel motivated to brush your teeth, you just do it because it's part of your system.
So we need to make English part of the system, not dependent on daily motivation.
Exactly. And here's how you do that. Attach English to existing habits. This is called habit stacking. If you already drink coffee every morning, stack English listening onto that existing habit.
So the coffee is the trigger that reminds you to play English audio.
Precisely. Your brain already has a pattern. Wake up, make coffee, drink coffee. Now you're just adding a small component. Wake up, make coffee, play English, drink coffee.
That's brilliant because you're using existing neural pathways instead of trying to create completely new ones.
And it requires almost no willpower because you're already doing the first part. The new behavior just rides along.
What about when you break the streak? Say you miss a day or even a week. How do you restart without feeling like you failed?
This is so important, Michael. First, we need to reject all or nothing thinking. All or nothing thinking is when you believe that if you're not perfect, you failed completely.
Like, I missed 3 days, so I've ruined everything. Why bother continuing?
Exactly that toxic thought. The antidote is what I call the flexible commitment. You're committed to the goal, learning English, but flexible about the path.
So if you miss morning practice, can you do 5 minutes at lunch or before bed?
Yes, or if you miss an entire day, you just restart the next day without guilt or drama. Think about it. If you walked 10,000 steps for 20 days, then missed one day, would you say, well, those 20 days don't count now?
Of course not. That would be absurd.
But we do that with learning all the time. We discount all our good days because of a few missed days. Instead, we should think cumulatively. Every day of practice counts and accumulates, whether or not there are gaps.
That's so liberating. So the question isn't, have I been perfect, but am I overall moving in the right direction?
Perfect. And most people are moving in the right direction even when they don't think they are. They're just focused on their imperfections instead of their progress.
Let's talk about something else, community. Does having other people doing this with you make a difference?
Huge difference. Humans are social creatures. We're wired to do things together. That's why gyms have group classes and why study groups exist.
So how can someone who's learning alone create that community feeling?
Great question. First, engage with content like this podcast. Leave comments, read other people's comments, feel part of the conversation.
Right, you're not alone if you're part of a community of listeners.
Exactly. Second, find one friend or family member who's also learning English, or at least who supports your goal. Share your daily practice with them, even just a quick text saying, "Did my morning English routine today?"
Accountability partner.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is it doesn't have to be someone learning English. It could be someone working on any personal goal. You check in with each other. Did you do your thing today? That mutual support is powerful.
What about online communities?
Absolutely. There are Facebook groups, Discord servers, Reddit communities, all dedicated to English learning. Join one, participate, share your struggles and victories.
And seeing other people succeed reminds you that it's possible.
And seeing other people struggle reminds you that you're not alone in your difficulties. Both are valuable.
Emma, we're coming up on time, but I want to make sure we give our listeners some final, concrete takeaways. If someone listening right now wants to implement this starting tomorrow morning, what are the absolute minimum first steps?
Okay, minimum viable routine. Here it is. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone for social media, play one 5-minute English podcast episode or one English song. That's it. That's step one.
Just 5 minutes before social media.
Yes, and while you're brushing your teeth, say out loud or think in English what you're doing and how you feel. Even if it's just, "I am tired. I am brushing my teeth. Today is Wednesday." That's step 2.
So we're talking about maybe 10 minutes total, and you're not even adding time, you're just changing what you do with existing time.
Exactly. And if you do just those 2 things for 1 week, I promise you'll notice a difference. Not in your fluency yet, but in how you feel about English. It'll feel less foreign and more like a natural part of your life.
And then week 2?
Week 2, add the writing component. 2 minutes, 3 sentences on your phone about your morning or your day ahead. That's it.
So we're building gradually, not overwhelming ourselves.
Right, because overwhelm is the enemy of progress. Small, sustainable steps beat big, unsustainable leaps every time.
every single time. Okay, I want to share a personal story before we wrap up. When I first started learning languages seriously, I tried the intensive immersion weekend approach.
Oh no, I can guess how this went.
Yeah, yeah, I'd spend an entire Saturday, maybe 8 hours, just consuming language content, doing exercises, the works. I'd feel accomplished and exhausted.
And then Monday came?
Monday came and I did nothing. Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, maybe 15 minutes. And then the next Saturday, I'd try to do another 8-hour marathon.
Which is ineffective because your brain needs consistent, distributed practice, not occasional binges.
Exactly. It took me years to learn what we're teaching today, that 15 minutes every single day beats 8 hours once a week. It beats it in results and it beats it in sustainability.
And in enjoyment. The daily approach doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like a gentle, pleasant part of your routine.
Yes, and now I genuinely look forward to my morning English time because it's become associated with my coffee, with that quiet moment before the day explodes into busyness.
That's the ultimate goal, for English to feel like a gift you give yourself, not a chore you force yourself to do.
Beautiful way to put it. Okay, Emma, any final thoughts before we close?
Yes, I want everyone listening to know that you are already capable of massive change. The fact that you're here, listening to a 40-minute podcast in your second language, proves you have dedication and ability.
That's a great point. Just the act of listening to this episode is English practice.
Exactly. So don't wait for permission, don't wait for perfect conditions, don't wait until you feel ready. Start tomorrow morning with 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. That's all we're asking.
And remember, we're here with you. Every episode of Study English Online is designed to be part of your morning routine, your commute, your English life.
Share this episode with someone who needs to hear this message. Leave a comment telling us which phrase you're going to use this week. Subscribe so you never miss an episode.
And most importantly, be patient and kind with yourself. Language learning is a journey of years, not days, but every single morning is a new opportunity to take one more step on that journey.
Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, remember, you have a choice: social media scroll or English growth, mindless routine or intentional practice. The same time, just a different choice.
And that choice, repeated day after day, will transform not just your English, but your entire relationship with mornings, with learning, and with yourself.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. This has been Study English Online Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Michael. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep practicing, keep growing, and most importantly, keep showing up for yourself every morning.
Because you're worth that 5 minutes.
Take care, everyone.
Until we